Hello everyone, welcome to the session Object-Oriented Programming through Java. Myself Navya, I am an assistant professor from the Department of CSIT in MLR Institutions of Technology. So, in this session you are going to learn what is multi-threading in Java. So, in this session we are going to learn what is multi-threading in Java, how it works, and what was the difference between a process-based multitasking as well as thread-based multitasking, and what was the life cycle of a thread, and what are the states that undergo in a life cycle of a thread. So, these are things we are going to learn in this session. So, coming to multi-threading. What is multi-threading in Java programming? So, we can create a program that contains more than one or more parts that can run simultaneously at the same time. So, this type of programming is known as multi-threading program. Okay, each part which was executing simultaneously, the part is known as a thread, and this thread defines a separate path of execution in Java, and that could be explained in different ways, and few of them are specified. So, we are going to define a thread. So, thread is a lightweight process. You can say a thread is a lightweight process, or a thread is a subpart of a process that can run individually. So, the best example of this multi-threading is, let me go with a real-time example. Whenever you are using, for example, Microsoft Excel. So, you are writing in Microsoft Excel, or you are typing something was a one part, and you are going to copy paste it one part, and you are coloring something is one part. So, simultaneously, if you are working on one process in different things, is known as multi-threading. Whatever you are doing multiple works in the same application, that particular work is known as a thread, and the whole process is called as a process. So, when n number of parts are executing at the same time, then it is known as multi-threading. Clear? Thread is a small part of a process that could run individually, and the combination of n number of threads is known as multi-threading. Here, multiple threads can run at a time, which enables the Java to write multitasking programs. And here, the multi-threading is specialized form of multitasking, and all the modern operating systems supports this multitasking. And there are two types of multitasking are follows. One is process-based multitasking, and the second one is thread-based multitasking. So, first we have to learn what is process-based multitasking and what was the thread-based multitasking, and you have to learn, we'll go better with the differences between a process-based multitasking and a thread-based multitasking. And here, to know, it is important to know the difference which I said, the process-based and a thread-based multitasking. Here are the differences in between the process-based multitasking and thread-based multitasking. If a computer allows you to run two or more processes simultaneously or concurrently, then it is known as a process-based multitasking. If I am running the Word and Excel at the same time simultaneously, then it is known as a process-based multitasking. What is thread-based multitasking? If a computer is running two or more threads. If I am going with one application, here I am showing you this and I am writing this. So, which is in thread, simultaneous works. So, simultaneously, if in one process or one application, you are running two or more things, small works or small threads concurrently, then it is known as a thread-based multitasking. And here, if in a computer, a process is the smallest unit, and in a process, a thread is the smallest unit. Clear? So, here in the computer, in the whole multiple applications, the process is the smallest unit. In particular one process, a thread is the smallest unit. And here is the same. This process is a large unit when compared to thread. And thread is a part of a process. Okay. And process is a heavyweight and thread is a lightweight because it was a part of a process. So, it was a lightweight and process is a heavyweight. Process requires separate address space for each. Each n number of process requires different address spaces. But whereas threads, it will work under same address space. So, it will share same address space. And process never gain access over idle compile time of CPU, but whereas thread can gain access over idle time of CPU. And inter-process communication is very expensive when compared to inter-thread communication. So, these were the differences between a process-based multitasking and a thread-based multitasking. Coming to life cycle of a thread. So, here whenever you are creating a new thread, in order to create a new thread, a thread goes through different states through its execution. So, these stages are called as, these stages or these phases are called as thread life cycle phases or thread life cycle states. So, we are having many states here. So, and this is a figure or the life cycle of a particular thread. Okay, first you undergo, the thread can undergo in 5 phases or 5 states. The very first state is new. Whenever you are creating a new thread, it will go to the new state. And runnable, whenever you start the thread to be executed, then it will go to the runnable, and then automatically it goes to running state, and after completion of this running, the execution, it will go to the dead state. In the meanwhile, if you have any instructions like sleep, wait and suspend, join, so it will go to the block state. After releasing of these block state, it will go to the runnable state. So, this is what the thread life cycle and what are the phases of a life cycle of a thread. So, coming to the new state. Whenever the thread object is created using new, then the thread is said to be in a new state. Whenever you are created a thread, it is said to be in new state and it is also called as a born state. And how you are going to create a new thread? Using the statement thread T1 equals to new thread. Runnable or ready state, the second stage. So, here whenever you are starting, whenever you call the start method of a thread, then the thread is said to be in runnable state and this state is also known as ready state. So, ready to execute state. And how you are going to use? Directly T1 dot start method. Okay, and the third is running method, running state. So, when a thread calls run method, the thread is said to be running, but there is no explicitly you cannot call the run method. Whenever you call the start method, automatically it calls the run method. So, there is no need of calling run method explicitly. Okay. And the fourth one is blocked or waiting state. So, when a thread is in running state, it may move to the block state due to various reasons, like I just want to sleep a thread for some while, some few seconds, milliseconds. Then I can use a sleep method or I can use a wait method, and when I call the suspend method or when I call the join method, if etc. So, these are the methods. If I call them to particular thread, the current thread will goes to running state to the block state. Okay. And when the thread is in block state or waiting state, it may move to runnable state again with if the sleep time is completed or the waiting time is completed, or if we are calling to notify all or notify and I just want to resume the particular thread. Using this, it will again go to the block state to running state. And the last state is dead or terminated state. Here, whatever the thread, which thread is in running state, that may move to the dead state during two reasons. The first one is either if execution is completed, the thread execution completes, then it will move to the dead state, or if you got in the middle of the execution, if I has mentioned the instruction like stop method call, then it will go to the dead state, and the dead state is also called as terminated state. So, in this session, you are what we have learned is what is a thread actually, what is multi-threading, and what is process based multitasking versus thread based multitasking. We have seen the differences between a process based multitasking and thread based multitasking, isn't it? And we have seen life cycle of a thread. Life cycle of a thread undergo with few stages called new. Whenever you are creating a new thread, that was in a born state or new state. Next is ready state. If you are going to start the new thread, then it was in a ready state, and runnable state, which if the thread is in, if you are running a thread, if you are executing that particular thread with some instructions, then it goes through runnable state and block state. So, if whenever the thread is running due to some resources, lack of resources, or if you are having some instructions like wait, suspend, or if you are asking to sleep a thread for some time, that will go to the block state, and the last state is dead or terminated. If dead or terminated state, if the thread is running, when the thread execution completes, then it will go to the dead or terminated state. Or if you are having an instruction called stop method, in the middle of the execution, if I am instructing that method to stop there, so it will go to the dead or terminated state. So, this is what we have seen in this session. Thank you all.